Good afternoon, my dear students. We are here to discuss the Hindu dated January 29. Exams are fast approaching us, so you have to, these are very crucial months. You got to prepare the newspaper in detail. On February 1, the new budget will be announced. In today's paper, you could see, January 30th paper, you could see the report, the financial survey report. So, all these things are very crucial, important days, important documents which will have validity for the next 1 year. So, make sure that you all put in a lot of time in preparing your own notes. If you read the newspapers well and approach this program, then you will get the full benefit of it, I am sure. So, we shall straight away start. Police issue notice to 40 farmer leaders, 18 opposition parties to boycott presidential address in the parliament, in the budget session of parliament. The budget session of parliament has started. It starts with the address of the president on the policy documents of his government. So, these two things occupy the front position of the front page of the Hindu. We shall take one by one. Police issue notice to 40 farmer leaders. Delhi police issued notices to 40 farmer leaders for violating the terms and conditions agreed upon for holding tractor rallies on Republic Day. See, the farmers rally take a different turn now. It went violent on January 26. The police have started retaliating. The government is trying to project the atrocities that took place during the rally, and the police try to portray them as if they have violated rules, but the farmers, they also lost their steam. It has been considered a very peaceful strike. That was the line that they always kept, but finally on January 26, when the tractor rally was permitted and was actually made, it went violent. So, the national support seems to have lost. Now, if the rally is to, if the strike is to continue, if the protest is to continue, then it has to gather greater steam and support from even political parties. So, we have to wait and see what is going to happen and what final decision will be taken by the government. Farmers want the complete repeal of all the 3 farm laws, while the government says that the maximum it can do is to postpone the implementation of the law by 15 to 18 months. So, we have to wait and see what is going to happen. Stopping hate on television is essential to prevent riots, says the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said stopping hate on television was as essential for law and order as arming policemen with lathis and putting up barricades to prevent the spread of violence and riots. Control over certain kind of news which agitate people to violence and riots is law and order problem. So, exhorting people to go to violence is a clear-cut law and order problem, says the Supreme Court. Preventing it is as powerful as putting up barricades. Preventing instigation is as important as providing lathis to policemen, says the Chief Justice of India. He was heading a 3-judges bench, addressed Solicitor General Tushar Mehta appearing for the centre. So, CJI referred to how the government had shut down internet facility on January 26 amid violence during the farmers' tractor rally. You shut down the internet mobile facility because of the farmers' visit to Delhi. It can hardly be called a visit. I was just using a non-controversial word, Chief Justice. Okay. The court also seems to have entered into wrong territories when it comes to dealing with the farmer strike. It must have been limited to an issue between the government and the striking protesters. And how effective can a court verdict be? That is something a very difficult question to answer, because farmers said that they would not go and speak to the committee appointed by the Supreme Court to reduce the tension between the government and the farmers and to find ways to mitigate the issues of the farmers. So, one party clearly says that they will not go by the court verdict. So, the Supreme Court also must have, or the courts must keep some kind of a restraint. But anyway, as per, if somebody approaches the court may be left with no option but to take up. Tempered optimism. Even with declining infection rate, public activity needs to be guided by caution. So, in India, the COVID situation is under control or getting under control, except in Kerala. In Kerala, the COVID situation is getting worse, but one school of thought says that Kerala is the only state where the testing is taking at a very high level, and in other states the testing, number of testing has come down. So, that could be one of the reasons why in Kerala the number is going up, and in other states it is coming down. And Kerala could be one of the very few states where everybody is wearing masks, and the so-called, to some extent at least, the social distance is kept, or there are control over organizations of meetings and all. But still the number is going up in Kerala, and of course this is only one school of thought, but it could be that COVID situation got bettered in other states. But how can there can be huge gathering of people in Delhi on one side thanks to farmers protest and all, but still the COVID situation is very much under control. This is something that is very difficult to understand. So, the article says the course of the coronavirus pandemic in the new year presents a picture of contrast, with some rich countries running out of vaccines, experiencing a tide of new cases and deaths, and poorer countries going without access to vaccination, while India reports a case decline. Vaccine hesitancy may even be wasting precious vials in some states. Amidst suggestions that the worst is over, the Home Ministry has proposed further relaxations in protocols of public activity from February, including occupancy levels in cinema theatres, holding of exhibitions and access to swimming pools. So, the government is unlocking through one side, and the cases are also declining. So, the new year presents a very contrast cases in different countries. There is a shortage of vaccination in many countries, there is vaccine hesitancy, but the numbers are going. In India, through one side the government is taking out all the controls, but the number of cases is coming down. So, some contrast can be seen if you take the cases of different countries and analyze them together. Germany is to give these free to people over 60 and to vulnerable individuals. They are talking about the measures taken by different countries, N95, FFP2 standards, masks are given free of cost in many countries. For one and all, China should show global leadership and not go down the path of arrogant superpowers. the Hindu refers to the Chinese President Xi Jinping became the first General Secretary of the Communist Party of China to attend the World Economic Forum at Davos. So, it was in 2017 Davos summit that Chinese president, for the first Chinese president to attend the Davos summit, a gathering synonymous with global capitalism. He delivered a robust defense of globalization 3 days before the newly elected US President Donald Trump was set to be sworn in. He was referring to the case in 2017. It was on January 25, Xi returned to Davos platform, albeit virtually. His speech carried many of the similar themes from 4 years ago, calling for global unity, closer coordination on macroeconomic policy and more equitable growth. It did also carry two messages that appeared to be aimed at Washington, a reflection of 4 turbulent years of a tariff and technology war between the world's two biggest economies. There have been wars, virtual wars between USA and virtual trade wars between USA and China all through the presidency years of Donald Trump. Each country is unique with its own history, culture and social system, and none is superior to the other, Xi said. Difference in itself is no cause for alarm. What does ring the alarm is arrogance, prejudice and hatred. It is the attempt to impose hierarchy on human civilization or to force one's own history, culture and social system upon others. So, he also hit out at attempts to build small circles or start a new Cold War to reject, threaten or intimidate others, to willfully impose decoupling, supply disruption or sanctions. So, China is speaking strongly in the World Economic Forum summit at Davos. It is the group of capitalist countries. China's position in the international trade cannot be belittled by anybody. In the next 4 years, hopefully, China and the United States of America will try to find solutions to the problems between them. During the Donald Trump's presidency years, all the 4 years witnessed real trade war between China and USA. USA put restrictions on many Chinese import. China retaliated immediately. So, these 4 years, the next 4 years could see some sea change expectedly. So, for world peace also, the peace between these two giant nations is important. The first question is given. The autobiography of the former Vice President Hamid Ansari is titled, "By Many a Happy Accident, Richly Poor, One Too Many, A Life Worth Lived for the Nation." Yes. Give me the answer. Let more responses come. Yes, it is true. The first option. This is the pick of the day from me. The autobiography of the former Vice President Hamid Ansari, By Many a Happy Incident. A very important question, probable question for your upcoming exams. Very important. Core values being subverted, says Hamid Ansari. Former Vice President Hamid Ansari has said a subversion of core values is underway and the world secularism has almost disappeared from the government's official vocabulary. He wrote in his autobiography, by many a happy accident, that this subversion was compounded by the abdication of failure of other social and political forces to comprehend its true nature and the urgency to counter it. So, he says, continues to say, revealed that one day Prime Minister Narendra Modi made an unscheduled visit to his Rajya Sabha office. After I got over my surprise, I made the customary gestures of hospitality. He said, there are expectations of higher responsibilities for you, but you are not helping me. I said that my work in the Rajya Sabha and outside is public knowledge. Why are bills not being passed in the din? He asked. I replied that the leader of the house and his colleagues, when in opposition, had appreciated the ruling that no bills will be passed in the din and that normal procedures of obtaining consent will be observed. He said that Rajya Sabha TV was not favourable to the government. My response was that while I had a role in the establishment of the channel, I had no control over the editorial content. So, in the backdrop of power, all these things are happening. So, these are all excerpts from his autobiography, by many a happy incident. So, for us, the name of the book is very important. The second question, the Union government has announced a few initiatives with regard to National Cadet Corps NCC. Pick out among the following the most correct choice. NCC will be given greater responsibilities in around 1675 districts in coastal and border areas. 1 lakh NCC cadets will be trained by the Army, the Navy and the Air Force. 1/3 of the cadets chosen will be the girls. A and B only, B and C only, A and C only, all the above, none of these. What is your choice? NCC is given greater responsibilities and better training. That is a decision taken by the government. This was announced by the Prime Minister on August 15, 2020. Yes, let the responses come. Quickly, please. Where are you all? Hello. Let the responses come. Okay, I have started getting the response. Gopika says A and B only. Athira says A and B only. Come on, how long have I to wait? Okay, the answer is all the above, the fourth option. All the above, the fourth option. These decisions are taken by the government keeping in line with the Prime Minister's declaration on August 15 to revamp NCC and conferring them with greater responsibility and providing them greater training. Okay. 1 lakh trained NCC cadets will serve in coastal and border areas. On August 15 last year, it was announced that NCC will be given new responsibilities in around 175 districts in the coastal and border areas. For this, around 1 lakh NCC cadets are being trained by the Army, Navy and Air Force. Out of these, 1/3 are girl cadets, said the Prime Minister on August 15. Very, very important, very, very important. India's UNSC seat a matter of discussion. we know that India is a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. The United Nations Security Council is the most powerful presence in the UN body. UN General Assembly has got all the sovereign members of the world, while the United Nations Security Council, the most powerful element of United Nations organization, has got 15 members. 5 are permanent and 10 are non-permanent, who are taken on a rotation for a 2-year term. The United Nations Security Council's P5, the permanent 5 members, are from the American continent only USA, from the Asian continent only China, and from the European continent England, France and Russia. United Nations organization is almost 75 years now, more than 75 years now, but there has not been any reform done to include powerful nations like India in its Security Council. If you take the United Nations composition from the Security Council permanent members composition, from the entire South American continent there is nobody. So South America is unrepresented. You take Africa, there is no country from Africa. So Africa is unrepresented. You take Asia, Asia where 50% of the population live, there is only one China. And India, that occupies that 17% of the world population are Indians, but India does not have a permanent membership. So Asia is underrepresented. Now look at Europe. Europe is overrepresented. Contribution of Europe in terms of population to the world is very less, but it is overrepresented. So it is very high time that United Nations Security Council, where the real power stays, needs to be reformed. And unless India is included, unless Africa is represented, unless Latin America is represented, it will be very difficult to say whether if that UNSC is a democratic organization. It is a democratic super government, but unfortunately United Nations Security Council reforms are getting lagged. In a response to a question on whether India, Germany and Japan should become permanent members of UN Security Council, the US President Joe Biden's pick for UN Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield said discussions on the subject were underway. In fact, Japan, of course, the second biggest powerful nation in the world in terms of its economic strength, and Japan is one of the biggest donor countries in the world, so that is not included. India is not included. You cannot, it is very clear that the problems of the world cannot be solved without including India, because India's stature in the world is improving like anything. And if the past century belonged to the West, in the last century the world affairs were determined by the Western powers, but in this century it is the developing countries that would matter more. So a reform to United Nations Security Council is very important to retain its relevance in the world. Economic survey to be tabled today. Parliament's budget session kicks off on Friday, beginning with the tabling of the economic survey of this budget. So yesterday it was given and presented, and today's newspaper will have economic survey reports. It's a very important document that will tell you on how the economy performed last year and the expectations for the next year. So please read, that is very, very, very important from the point of view of examination also. Plug gaps in GST to raise fiscal support. IMF Geeta Gobinath wants tightening policy support in the middle of a pandemic risks economic damage. India should propose a creditable privatization plan for public sector firms. plug gaps in GST collection, and cut wasteful expenditure from the budget in order to contain borrowing cost while enhancing fiscal support for the economy, IMF chief economist Geeta Gopinath said. So she proposes three things. One, public sector reforms, privatization of public sector firms, plug in gaps in GST collection, loopholes in GST collection, and cut wasteful expenditure from the budget. So these are the three things suggested by the chief economist of the IMF, Ms. Geeta Gopinath, stressing that there is a risk of sharp rise in inequality with millions entering extreme poverty. So India must continue to provide support to weaker sections and increase outlays for National Employment Guarantee Scheme this year as well. So she lauds MNREGS, the biggest employment guarantee program in the world, which is a demand driven program. So that must be expanded this year, advises Geeta Gopinath. IAFK Lifetime Award for Gobad, International Film Festival of Kerala, IAFK. It was given to Jean-Luc Godard, French filmmaker. He was given the Lifetime Achievement Award during IAFK. Third question, in the Corruption Perception Index released by the Transparency International, India has slipped its rank to dash position. What is India's position in the ranking, global ranking, in the Corruption Index by the Transparency International? Give me the answer quickly. Okay, the answer is the fifth option, correct. India is ranked 86th in the world. It slipped by 5 positions. The rank number 1 is occupied by New Zealand and Denmark. New Zealand and Denmark occupy the first 2 positions. The first rankers are New Zealand and Denmark, meaning countries having least corruption. New Zealand tops COVID-19 performance ranking. New Zealand and Vietnam were ranked the best performing countries in their response to pandemic. In their response to pandemic, New Zealand and Vietnam were ranked the best performing countries. This is another news. Okay, India ranked 86 out of 98 countries by an Australian think tank. Sri Lanka best faring nation in South Asia. This is about the nation's performance in containing the COVID pandemic. New Zealand and Vietnam were ranked the best performing countries in the response to the pandemic according to a COVID-19 performance index put together by Lowy Institute, an Australian think tank. Take note of that. Maybe that may appear for your exam too. Fourth one, India and France on January 28, 2021 launched the Indo-French Year of dash, aerospace cooperation, nuclear cooperation, environment, mitigating terrorism, people-to-people contact. The year 2021 is going to be the Indo-French Year of what? What's your answer? Yes. Okay, so I am giving my answer to you. It is environment. The third option, environment. the year 2021 is going to be Indo-French year of environment. A very important question may even come for your exam. Thank you very much, my dear students. Tomorrow is Sunday. We will not have any newspaper analysis tomorrow, but I shall cover the days, I shall cover Sunday and Saturday. Definitely I will not miss any paper. Today we will have another session at 3 o'clock, that will be on math, QA or reasoning. Please ensure that you all participate in the program. You should give your response to this program against in the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page. Give encouragement to us by joining our social media platform. Thank you very much once again. Thank you all. I have got an announcement to make for those who are using the Udyog Seva app. The examination can be done in browsers. You can do the examination in your laptop or your PC. Examinations are accessible and can be done through laptop and PC. It is already notified in the application, so please make use of the facility. Thank you very much.